Well, it's the last Sunday of January 2025, and do you know what that means? That means it's the time for questions and answers with my subscribers and just people that I meet out on the street sometimes. Ask a question and I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe you guys would like to hear the answer to that. So, you know what? Let's jump right into these with Carly says, Mac and I need to know if the Bills will beat the Chiefs tonight. Well, let's say this. I don't follow any professional sports. I believe you guys want the Bills to win, so let's say, go Bills, let's beat those Chiefs. And for those Chiefs fans out there, no offense, I hope your team does really well too. So, you know what, there's no way everyone can win, but go Bills, all right? Let's start off with that one. And then we will go to, did your eyelid tattoos hurt? Yes, they most certainly did hurt. Not as much as some other places, but to be totally honest, all tattoos have some level of discomfort, some more than others. So that's a great question. And that leads us right into, why did you tattoo your face? Well, my mom, rest her soul in peace, got me my first tattoo. I loved tattoo culture, and she took me to the local tattoo shop before I was old enough and signed the paperwork so that I could get my first tattoo, which is a green dragon that I have over here. Just a small piece, flash art or whatnot. And I remember saying, like, I love tattoos. I'm gonna tattoo my whole body. And she said to me, she said, son, as much as I love you, please do not tattoo your face while I'm still alive. She's like, I'm sure you'll pick something wonderful, but just please don't tattoo your face while I'm here, because I made that face and I just, you know, would like to see it stay that way. And I respected that. And my mom taught me that one of the most important things in life is respect. If we have self-respect, it reflects on how we treat others. It reflects on how we allow others to treat ourselves. And so 2 months after she passed away, we had a solar eclipse, and I just was feeling kind of sad that day. And I was missing my mom, and I called my buddy and I was like, hey, do you got some time this afternoon? I'd like to come and get a tattoo on my face. And he's like, you want to get the respect tattoo for your mom? Because he knew I was going to tattoo respect for my mom. So that's why I started tattooing my face, the first face tattoo, with respect. And so thanks for asking that question. A lot of people ask that question, and I'm glad I've taken the time and had the opportunity to just give you a little bit of insight onto that one. So weird that. Why did you name your dog Lunchbox? Well, all right. How many of you have seen Jay and Silent Bob movies? And Jay is always calling Silent Bob Lunchbox when they're around, and it always gave me such a chuckle. As well as when you have a big dog like a Can Corso or an oversized bully or some of these larger breed dogs that get a bad rap due to the internet saying how dangerous they are, etc. I found that with a name like Lunchbox, it's very disarming. So when people would be like, oh my God, your dog's so beautiful, what's its name? And I say Lunchbox, immediately they kind of get a smile on their face and go to that place of, oh, can I pet her or him or whatnot? And I say, you most certainly can come and pet her. She loves people. She loves interacting with different people as much as I do. So I think that will answer your question on why did I name my dog Lunchbox. Natalie asks 2 questions. What is your favorite memory and what is your biggest fear? Well, I have a lot of favorite memories. It's hard to pick one that's better than the other, but just one that comes off the top of my head is the first lake trout I ever caught up at my cottage. My family's cottage. I'd been fishing there for 20 years and heard about all the wonderful lake trout that were in the lake, and I'd caught lots of bass and pike and walleye and the other species that are in the lake, but I'd never landed that lake, or they had been evading me. And in March of 2009, after the ice had come off, or sorry, not March, it was May of 2009, when the ice had come off the lake and the water was still really high but still really cold. Me and a few friends went up to the lake to do a bit of fishing, and I got my first Laker, and I just remember being so overwhelmed with joy that day. Yeah, it was just fantastic. We brought the fish home, we harvested the fish, and we brought it home and had a wonderful fish fry for dinner. And blessed by source that day, more than one time. We got a few nice fish that day. So Natalie, thank you for asking that question. And let's move on to what is my biggest fear. I think my biggest fear now in life that I'm a little bit older would be the fact that I'm afraid to let myself down. So I've let myself down so many times in life. And by letting myself down, I was letting down the people around me, and I'm really afraid of that. So it gives me a bit of motivation each day to just try and be the best version of myself that I can, and push forward through whatever obstacles come that day. Try to be more solution driven than problem focused. And Natalie, thank you so much, my sister. You know I love you, and I really appreciate those great questions. And on to, oh yeah, Markku Kujala, my best friend in the world in Finland. We met in 2011 in Turku, Finland at a Ruis Rock Music Festival. And he asks me, if you were a robot and I knew, but you didn't, would you want me to tell you? And it took me a minute to really think about that. Like, would I want to know if I was a robot? Would I want him to tell me, being the person that I trust most, the person that I really want to believe? Would I want them to keep that a secret from me? So I would have to say yes. I would want him to keep that a secret from me, because maybe if I was a robot and he told me that I was a robot, and then I started self-analyzing and shut myself down, and I'd no longer be able to continue whatever existence that I was in. So Markku, if you're watching, which I know you probably are, if I'm a robot, please don't tell me, my brother. Thanks for a great question, man. You're a top shelf friend, man, and I appreciate you so much. Healing the Science, thank you so much for the question, brother. He asks, the biggest life lesson in 2024 that will help me grow in 2025. That was a difficult question. I had to take a lot of time to reflect on that one, because 2024 was a pretty tough year for myself and a lot of people around me. So I'm gonna go with the fact that I am going to stay focused on things that are positive about people rather than the things that are negative about them, because we all have negatives in our life and none of us are perfect. And the more we can focus on the things we have in common and the things that we like about other people, the more we're moving in the direction of love and trying to raise the vibration of the planet. So Shakesh, brother, thank you for that question. Deanne asks, what was the catalyst to my change? A very dear friend of mine was diagnosed with stomach and bone cancer, and I had been struggling with loss of friends and family members my whole life. And I just knew that if I kept drinking at the pace I was going, I wasn't gonna make it through. And I was just gonna be like all the rest of them that I'd lost through addiction or disease, etc. And so that in itself, I had to say to myself, you know what, no more alcohol in my system, because I needed to have a clear mind in order to process and grieve properly what I was going through. Because all of the times before Brian's illness, when people were ill close to me, etc., I hid from those emotions with drugs and alcohol. So I had that momentary lapse of, or not lapse of reason, but a moment of strength, saying, you know what, we can do this. We got rid of those other poisonous, toxic things that we were addicted to, we can get through this one. And with the struggle and the right support group, I made it through the addictions to alcohol, and I am where I am today because of that decision. Most recent, that was 5.5 years ago. So Deanne, thank you for the question, and let's move on, people. I really appreciate this opportunity to share little bits about myself so that you guys can learn more about me and hopefully support my community grow, because I want us all to be interacting with one another through the comment section or whatnot, and being supportive of one another, guys. We can change the world one person at a time, right? Teresa C, who is your biggest influence of all in life? That's another fantastic question, guys. Like, legitimate, blows my mind. You've put a lot of thought into these questions. I appreciate that. There's been a lot of really influential people in my life, or influential people in my life, and one of them would be Ernesto Che Guevara. He was a revolutionary and a humanist, and through reading his books, I got a deeper understanding of what it means to be a humanitarian, and put all of our differences aside and focus on the task at hand, which is being kind and helping the people that are around us. So Ernesto Che Guevara, rest your soul in peace, and thank you for giving your life to help other people. Just incredible, incredible, incredible. Oh my, I dropped my pen. Okay, Synchronized Souls, Zoe, my sister, I love you. Make sure you guys come and check out our podcast. I'm a guest on her podcast every now and then. February 2nd, I'm going to be back there as we discuss Groundhog Day. And are we bound to keep repeating the same mistakes? And how to set boundaries, etc. So check that out. Her question is, what is your favorite love song? There is so many good love songs out there, but one of my favorite is from the singer LP. The song Lost on You. When I hear that song, it brings tears to my eyes almost every time I hear it. And that song, I don't know, it evokes a lot of emotion in me. Her voice is just so beautiful. And if not that, a close second, or like I say, there's so many of them, but Amigo the Devil has a great song as well. I believe it is called Helen You, and it's another kind of darker love song, but it's just it resonates really deeply with me. Zoe, thank you for that question. Excuse me, Tammy L asks, what are your favorite books or favorite book and why? And well, I can't just have one favorite book. It's like a favorite song or a favorite food. There's so many great things, but I did grab a couple off my bookshelf. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. Like, what else needs to be said? It's like over 2,000 or 2,000 years old, or not quite 2,000 years old, sorry. But 2,000 years old. And a man who had great power, but realized that great power isn't all it's cracked up to be, through all of the wars that he had witnessed, and famine and disease. And he journaled a lot, which I've yet to really start doing, and I know it's a fantastic way for us to help process a lot of our emotions, but I have yet to start journaling. But the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, and I do have just one little spot marked in the book here, and he says, sober up, recall yourself, shake off sleep once more, realize they were dreams that troubled you, and now you are awake again. Look on these things as you would have looked on a dream, right? So these are things that just, they make us think. And I'm not going to take the time to sit here and really think about that quote in particular and explain what it's triggered in my mind, the thoughts that it's bringing forward, because this is a Q&A and we want to get through to questions and answers. Another one of my favorite all-time books, Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. How can we not love that story, right? It's got absurdities and silliness, and it's got truths, and it's got just It's thought-provoking to me, and just a wonderful, wonderful story for all ages. And yeah, Alice in Wonderland, it's just a wonderful story. And then another one of my favorites, A Clockwork Orange. I know a lot of people are out there right now probably going, really? A Clockwork Orange? That movie is dark and twisted and the book is hard to read and all of these things. And yeah, the book is harder to read. It's not a simple read. I'm not a great reader to begin with, so I have to read things multiple times. But it's strange and it's quirky and it's dark and it's evil. But it's not just the story at hand. It's the story that we can then like expand on in our mind and really imagine what it would be like in such a strange type of society. And in the movie itself, Stanley Kubrick was a fantastic filmmaker and photographer, and just angles that he used and lighting that he used in that movie to really show a different way. As like I say, it's a dark movie. It's horrible things happen in it. From the beginning to the end, it's not a nice movie, but at the same time, it provokes thought, and I like to think things through. I like to think about things from different sides and different angles, and I find stories like that really kind of blossom that kind of just thought-provoking stuff of looking at things from different angles. And sorry if I'm not great at explaining myself for some of these answers. I'm doing the best I can, and I appreciate your time being here with me. I truly do. So yeah, great question, Tammy L. I hope that answers that. And she put on an addition. Then, can I elaborate on the importance of hobbies and passions? She says, I know you know. Well, one thing I know is I only know my point of view. And I don't have the answers for everybody. A lot of the time I don't have answers for myself, and I have to reach out to my loved ones, the people I trust, to try and grasp maybe different perspectives and views on how to handle situations. But I mean, hobbies, I think that hobbies are so important, because if you can be focused on your hobby for 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day, that gives you a time to shut away your brain of everything else that we're thinking about. Like, what's for dinner? Oh, the laundry needs to be done. Like, oh, the kids have soccer tonight. Or, oh, I got to pick up my son from karate. We have all of these things constantly going on. Our brain never really has time to shut down and not focus on the tasks at hand. So taking times to do a hobby, and we can just focus on that hobby, I think is part of self-care, taking care of ourselves, reminding ourselves that we're important. And so hobby, I think, is great. My hobby a lot of the time is just shooting my little YouTube videos, going out to the garden and shooting a garden video, or if I feel like if I'm doing some baking, maybe setting up the camera and filming while I bake, etc. And passion, you know, I take passion in all of those things. I take passion in gardening, and I take passion in cooking, and passion, it just reminds us how alive we are. It just gives us that spark. You know, when you'll see somebody and they're having like maybe a really crummy day, and you know they're passionate about, say, paint by numbers or something, and you know they've been working on one, and you just say to them like, hey chum, how's that paint by numbers going? And you'll see them like just kind of break out of that darkness for just a moment, and their eyes light up and they get a smile on their face as they're sharing how much they enjoy what they're doing and stuff. And that brightens up our life if we can brighten up the people's lives around us, because, you know, happiness is spreadable just like anger and frustration, but we stay focused on the happiness so that we can try and be there for ourselves and others when they're feeling that moment of down. You guys, like, really fantastic questions. This is only my second Q&A, and without you guys there wouldn't be a second one. So thank you for these great questions. Cindy G says, tell me about the boat models behind you. She sees them in my videos. Well, this one over here is a metal sculpture that was given to me by a tattoo artist friend of mine, Matt. Thank you very much for the gift of this boat. It's in model of a Viking long trip boat. Yeah, it's all handmade and just a really cool thing. This one up here is just like a carved out wood thing that I got at a garage sale or a second-hand shop of a Spanish galleon from like the 1600s or something really neat. As well as this boat here. I forget where I got this, whether it was gifted to me or whatnot, and it's actually a replica of the Gorch Fock, which was apparently a German Navy vessel, tall ship, they would call it, and there was one from the 1930s, I believe, and then it got taken maybe by Russia or something like that, and they recommissioned one to be built in the 50s. So yeah, I have a painting over here of another ship as well that's very much like a piratey ghost ship of a galleon, tall ship type thing. I love the sea. I love pirate stories and Voyager and explorer stories, taking away some of the horrific things that happen because of early explorers with disease and all these things happening. But just the story and the courage it must have taken when people are like, oh, if you go too far that way, you'll fall off the edge of the world. And they're like, well, I'm gonna find out. So there's just like this inner explorer. It enlivens the young boy and adventurousness and explorer type thing in me to have vessels and ships around me and in my home. So I'd like to thank you, Cindy G, for that wonderful question. And I believe I have one left here. That's Lou M. Thank you so much, Lou, for this question. What motivates you? What motivates me is time. It's the only thing that is after us. It's been after us since the moment we were born, and it'll be after us until the moment we are no longer here. I wasted a lot of it. I wasted a lot of it with not using myself to the best of my potential. I wasted a lot of it with drug addiction and alcoholism and mental health issues that I was denying and not reaching out and getting help for. I don't want to waste any more time. I've lost a lot of good people in my world, and I know that I have the potential of saving one person's life today. Even if it's just by them watching one of my short videos, which, guys, are a lot of the times for myself, to remind myself what we're all going through, because we're all part of this together. And that motivates me, Lou. It motivates me to not waste today, because we might not have tomorrow. So let's do the best we can today. Let's do the best we can every day. I want to thank you all for your wonderful questions. Let's keep them coming, guys. I really, really like this. It means the world to me. I know I've said that once, and I'll say it again. It means the world to me that you are giving me your time so that I can share with you some of my life experience, why I'm the human being I am today. Maybe I say I'm a lot too. I don't know. Remember, when somebody says no one cares, James Collins cares. Thanks for watching, and I love you. I'll see you next month on the last Sunday for a Q&A with James Collins Cares. See you next time.